Good morning. Morning break on this Tuesday. How was your Monday? Did you have a good Monday? It's crazy. And I've been thinking about this for the last couple of days. And I know we've talked about it on the air. Is Where's the summer gone? It's just gone. It's like gone. It's like it's over. I mean, it's Labor Day. I don't know about you. So when I was a kid, summer really ended on Labor Day. And for me, when I was a little kid and living in Minnesota, school had already started. So it's weird because now I moved to the West Coast and school starts after Labor Day. Moved back here to Ohio now, and school starts like last week. So, but Labor Day kind of marked the end of summer for me as a youth, and it does again still as an adult. Going on a trip this weekend. I hope you're doing something fun. I'm going to Mackinac Island in Michigan. USA Today, by the way, and I am not hired by the folks at Mackinac Island, though I've talked about it quite a bit. USA Today named it the #1 spot. And by the way, this is an accident. We'll talk about that in a second. #1 spot in the United States to go and spend a vacation, a weekend, whatever you want to do. And I think a lot of that's due. And I'm going to be really honest with you. I think a lot of that is due to the fact that you can go there and there are no horses. There are horses and there are no cars, and it's bicycles. It's super fun. I love Mackinac Island. And that's what happens, by the way. Your brain is thinking of one thing, and you're actually, when you have to control a whole bunch of stuff, that is what happens there. So there are horses, but no cars. And it's cool. You sit there and you're taken back. And there's movies, you can look up the movies that have been shot on Mackinac Island, somewhere in time, which I just honestly, for the first time, saw just a couple weeks ago. Saw it with eh, Christopher Reeves, Jane Seymour, whatever. Jane Seymour was in it. Fantastic movie. It was a lot of fun. We're going back, and of course, now I want to go see that stuff. I'm like planning out. I'm like, hey, listen, I want to go see the gazebo. Of course, all the different stuff. It is cool. Be watching Facebook Live stuff because Kristen and I have decided that we'll probably pop on a couple of times. And this, by the way, for those of you following along, is our 4th anniversary. What a cool story. And we touched a little on it on our show. And hey, if you're not familiar, Abundant TV is a network my wife and I started just a little over 3 years ago. That just blows me away. You can find it on the App Store, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, or for your favorite device if you want to just watch us on your phone in both stores. Hey, listen, congratulations goes out to Cal Raleigh, first catcher in Major League Baseball history to hit 50 home runs in a season. Congratulations to him as he is having one of those incredible seasons. Seattle Mariners are doing amazing things right now. It's been so much fun. Even though I am following from afar, I am watching and keeping up on that. Also wanted to tell you about our Bible studies that we have coming up. We're going to launch these in September. They're called Abundant Groups. My wife and I will be leading one. We're going to have men's groups, women's groups, and mixed groups. And we are excited about the Abundant Groups. So be following along. I'll drop a link and a QR code at some point here in the near future. And so those are kind of some things coming up. Now, listen, Labor Day is just around the corner. Today is a great day because it is National Dog Day. And we're, here's the thing. Pets are amazing. Dogs, we have cats, but dogs are amazing. It's National Pet Day. Remember, whatever you do this weekend, hey, take your pet with or make sure they have a sitter. That was what I was going to say on that. Also, it, animals change things for you. And I was thinking of this over the last couple of weeks, and pretty much last month. Animals are so important through several processes that go on in life. One of those is grieving, and I've of course lost my mom last October. She passed away at the end of October last year, and it's amazing how our cats have like turned up the love volume. They are like amazing, and they're so sweet. Just love my animals, and I was not, by the way, before I got married, an animal person. I didn't have animals. It was not my thing. Crazy, huh? Just things we think about. Hey, welcome to the morning break. It's a place for you and I to hang out and talk. It is a cross between a morning radio show and just friends hanging out and talking. And that's so important. By the way, gotta have your coffee if you're gonna hang out for the morning break. The great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee have been an awesome sponsor for Abundant TV. Remember, when you order your coffee from the great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee, remember, use the promo code ATV10. When we come back, one of the first people I talked to after we decided to launch Abundant TV. We'll do that after this.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy. A life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
Thanks to great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee. Remember, when you order your coffee, to use the promo code ATV10. And as I talked about in the opening segment about Abundant TV, one of the first people after we announced that we were going to launch is this lady who has become just a great friend and just somebody that's always an encourager. Dr. Trudy, it is so good to have you here on the morning break.
Thank you. It is so good to be here. I love your show, The Morning Break. Thank you for having me.
It's a lot of fun, and it's just what it basically does. It's kind of my personality in a nutshell. This is really, and people ask my wife, they say, is he really like that? And this is really just it. In real life, real person, just hanging out. I love to talk about everything. There isn't anything that I don't want to talk about. And I want to talk about a couple things because you are someone who deals a lot in you have dealt with this too, is the grief process.
Yes.
You lost your dad. I lost my mom. Tell our viewers, there might be somebody out there that is going through the same thing you and I have gone through recently. Give them some words of encouragement.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, my dad, he was one of my very best friends, and you know that, but he passed away of cancer last June 14th. Some advice would probably be, you're never going to get over it. People say, oh, you'll get over it, or it'll get better. I don't think that's true. I think you learn to navigate through it, because at any point in time, a smell, a song, or something may come on that will remind you of that person. And you've got to learn how to navigate, whether you're going through the stages of grief, which are, denial, anger, bargaining. What's the other ones? Those are where I'm stuck, right? Anger, denial, bargaining. And then once you get to acceptance, after you go back through and you go through them in cycles. And so I remember the other day, Rob, I was, I don't know what I was doing, but a song came on, and it was like, sang me a tune, or sang me a tune was something. And my dad, right before he passed away in the hospital, he's like, Trudy, sang me a tune. And man, it just hit like a tidal wave. And so, when you love much, you're going to grieve, and that's part of life. But you don't ever get over that person. You just learn to navigate through. And that's what I had to learn. And people grieve so differently, don't you think?
Oh, I think it's yes. And for me, I have dealt a lot with mom being an only child, which I
Mm,
was.
yes.
It was, it was very different. Mom was at the end not as healthy as she had been my whole life. And
Right.
so it was a hard adjustment to go from this woman who was super strong to a woman that was, you know, a lot less. Now she would never want to use the word frail, but
Right.
at the end she was not as strong as she had been. And
Yes.
and so yeah, definitely. I look at that and I think that people, like you said, people say, well, you'll get over it. I don't know if you get over it as much as you learn to celebrate the good times.
Right.
You learn to celebrate those and spend less time on the others. And there have been things that have happened over the last few months that I wished I could have told my mom.
I
She would
know.
have
I know.
loved to have heard,
Yeah.
because she was my biggest person, celebrated me bigger than anyone else. And it's just that kind of thing for her that I miss. I miss being able to share that with her.
I do the same. Like I go to pick up the phone. I would call my dad every day at 5:30. And then when something exciting happened, I would call my dad. And you can't do that anymore. So I still am like, hey dad, this is what happened today. But when I was grieving, Rob, and you know this, I asked the Lord to give me a way that I could grieve and heal and honor my dad. And because like I said, we all grieve differently, and our timeline for healing is different. So I did something really crazy in his honor, but it helped me grieve. And that was my 100-mile race in his honor, raising money for childhood cancer. And that just kind of pushed me to the limit. And I remember my last 8 miles of my 100-mile race. I just did not want to go anymore. I was crying. My feet hurt. I was tired. And my husband looked at me and he said, the last 8 days of your dad's life, he was in so much pain. You can cross this finish line for him. So those last 8 miles were just intense. And I could just his presence was just so beautifully honored. And when I finished that race, there was this person, and I'm going to call him an angel, because as I finished the 100 miles and my friends were there cheering me on, this gentleman walks up and he's like, your dad would be so proud of you. Then he looked at my son and he's like, because of your mom, you're going to go far in life. And don't forget that during the hard times, you can rise to the challenge. And that was my dad, like just a force to be reckoned with. And this guy, he says it, he takes a picture on his phone and he leaves. And I'm like, does anybody know this person? And nobody knew him. And he just kind of vanished. But it was just the most beautiful way that I felt that I could honor my dad. And I think for anybody, grieving a loss of a loved one, it's find a way that you can honor them and keep their memory alive. I mean, it says in the scriptures that we are not to mourn without hope, right? And
Yep.
I found myself mourning without hope for a season. And then that's when the Lord, I felt, gave me this goal was to, let's find a different way to grieve. And so that's what I did. So for those watching, yes, we grieve, but we have hope. We have hope that we will see them again in heaven. And that's exciting, because I'm like, okay, dad's probably dancing up in heaven with Jesus right now,
Yeah. Yeah,
having a great time.
and we may miss them, but I would never want my mom to come back.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a part of my grieving process, was realizing I loved her so much, but I wouldn't want her to come back and have to deal with everything that's in this world.
Right,
And
right.
so I totally agree with you. Tell everybody, because you mentioned it in that part there. You ran 100 miles. Now, you didn't do that over like 10 days, ladies and gentlemen. Did you do it in a 24-hour span, or how did that work?
So my goal, Rob, was to do 100 miles in 24 hours. What I wasn't expecting was the outpouring of the community. And so it took me 32 hours to run the 100 miles. And I set up a tent at the parking lot where I started, and people just kept coming and wanting to talk to me and share their stories. And so I spent a lot of time just talking to people and praying with people and walking with people. And so it took me 32 hours versus 24 hours. So when I do it next year, when whoever comes to cheer me on, I'm going to require that they run the race with me, at least a lap, at least one lap. You don't have to run the full 100 miles, but I have a 1 mile track. So I did 100 laps. And so I'm like, okay, you could at least do, half the lap with me or the full lap. But, just the community came out and honored my dad. And it was beautiful. So yes, it took me 32 hours. I didn't sleep. I didn't really stop. Yeah.
So here's my question, and it's an odd question, but I thought of it when I saw the pictures on Facebook. How bad were your blisters after you were done?
My feet, like nothing else hurt, nothing except the balls of my feet underneath my toes. If you want to hear about it.
Yeah.
The blisters were so bad, I could not put pressure on them. I couldn't wear shoes for a week. And I had to walk on my heels because the blisters were so bad. In fact, this might be too much information, but I went to get my pedicure the other day and they're like, you still have blisters on the top of your feet. But other than that, nothing hurt. It was like the Lord just kind of carried me through. And I was expecting to be in such pain and agony, because I'm 55 and, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. And I'm like, my body's going to be hurting. But, I trained well. I was very consistent. And I was just like, okay, I got this. And so, yeah, just my blisters were pretty bad.
So now you mentioned this just a minute ago. You're going to do this again next year.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to do it again.
Here's the deal, folks. If you want to follow along, that is a link right there to Dr. Trudy's website, because we'll have to have you back on a couple of times and you keep us updated. So when you say you trained, what did you do to train?
I got a schedule. I made myself a 4-month schedule, and I was pretty much running every day. I took Sundays off, but I would run, back-to-back days. I would go to the school track and run the school track or run the stadiums just to get the mileage in. And it was amazing. It was amazing. I listened to a lot of podcasts, Rob.
I was wondering what you did for that time.
So it's interesting. I had so for when I was training, I listened to a ton, and then a ton of podcasts, and then race day, I had a whole list of podcasts I wanted to listen to. But I was just, like I said, blown away with the people that came out to support me, that I really never had time to listen to any of the podcasts that I had saved. So I have a whole list for training. Yeah, it's and next year, because I had such a community response, I'm going to hopefully add more to the race and make it more of a community race and not just me running.
So okay. So this is we did not talk about this question ahead of time. Are you going to ask other people to join you to run?
I am. So I'm going to have people, so they can sign up as teams. And if they want to run, like my son's friends, they want to get 4 people and they want to do a relay. And then I have a couple other people who's like, I'll come and do I'll do 10 miles with you. My pastor was going to do the 100 mile with me, but his wife said he couldn't do it because it was a Saturday night and he wouldn't be ready for church on Sunday. So
yeah,
I have a lot of people who want to come alongside and make this kind of a really big deal for my dad. But all the money that's raised, none of it comes to me. It all goes to childhood cancer, because that was my dad's heartbeat, was children. And one of the things he said when he was sick was, I don't understand how children can handle this much pain. And so I am like, okay, I'm just going to raise money for childhood cancer. So all the money goes to childhood cancer.
See, that is so awesome. So we're going to have you on again for sure to talk about that. You've got some cool podcasts. They can
Yes.
find them on YouTube. I'm trying to talk Dr. Trudy into bringing them to Abundant TV, but she seems to forget that. And so I'm calling her out right here on TV.
I forget to send them.
Yeah.
You know, I've been grieving, Rob.
Hey, and people
It's
don't
spring
people,
fog.
people don't understand that. And I didn't when I before I went through this with my mom. Of course, I did a long time ago with my dad. My dad died when I was younger. And I didn't think of it. You really have to learn to give people grace during
Yes.
this time. And it's like you said, no one really gets over it. So, but Dr. Trudy, as always, so much fun to have you. Dr. Trudy was the first person I think I talked to about Abundant TV. If I'm not mistaken, you were
You
the
talked to
first,
me.
weren't you?
You talked to me before it was actually a network. You told me
Yep.
about this is what I want to do. This is my dream. Here it is. And now look
Yep.
at you. It's so
Yeah. Well,
exciting to watch what God's doing.
it's been so cool to see. Hey, listen, we appreciate you, Dr. Trudy, and find her at her website. You can find her all over social media. And thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Social media today is noisy, divided, and too often hostile to Christian values, a place where truth is twisted and faith is often silenced. What if there was a place for believers where you could share your story, grow in your faith, and be encouraged every day? Introducing Acts Social, the #1 Christ-centered social platform built to unite Christians worldwide in truth, hope, and love. Share your faith openly. Discover powerful, uplifting content. Join prayer groups. Encourage others. Find news and events from a biblical worldview all in one place. And do it all free from big tech censorship, invasive tracking, and endless ads. Because the body of Christ was never meant to be scattered. It was meant to be together, every day, everywhere. ActsSocial.com, the fastest growing platform for Christ-centered connection. Join us and be part of something eternal.
Hey, the great folks at Act Social. Now, I didn't get to talk much about Act Social. Act Social is a fun and amazing new social media platform. Abundant TV is one of the corporate sponsors, and we are super excited, along with Chick-fil-A and Hobby Lobby, to really launch this new network. So if you love social media, but don't always love all the noise that goes on, try Axe Social today. When you go there and sign up, if you do me a favor, they didn't ask us to do this, but I want to. I think there's a place where you can say who referred you. Tell them that Abundant TV told you to come. It again, it doesn't have anything to do with anything other than it does help us. By the way, once you get there, find the Abundant group. It is the fastest growing group on there. It's limited by invitation only right now. So, you know me and I know you. We're hanging out together. Morning break, your chance to be a part. Act Social, ACTSsocial.com. And in the referral, remember to put Abundant TV. Now, I love to travel. So that's a huge part of my life. And you also know, if you follow me on social media, that I love ranch dressing. So this story is a double win. The folks at Hidden Valley Ranch are offering to cover your bag fees. It starts today. They're going to give away to 1,000 people over the Labor Day weekend. They're going to give them their airline baggage fee they're going to cover it. $35. All you have to do is hashtag pack your Hidden Valley Ranch offer. I love some ranch dressing. We should ask Trudy. I don't know why I didn't think about that. I love ranch. We did an interview that hasn't aired yet for Abundant TV, Kristen and I. And the author that was on the interview is from Minnesota. And I think my wife thinks I'm putting people on when I say that I put ranch dressing on pizza. I put ranch dressing on, like chicken nuggets. I love ranch dressing. And my wife, I know, thought I was putting her on when I said that there are times where, like on a pasta, you can put a little ranch dressing. She didn't believe me. My mom did it. She was shocked and she didn't try it. Kristen doesn't like ranch. And I know that's a sad thing. Somebody that doesn't like ranch dressing. But anyway, Hidden Valley Ranch offers to cover your bag fees. All you have to do is hashtag pack your Hidden Valley Ranch offer. Do it on social media. Chance to win $35 to cover your baggage. I love that. Now, so we talked about the start of the show, and I didn't finish. This was an injury from last night. So tell you the quick story. So I'm sitting there having dinner with my wife. We're enjoying ourselves, having a great time. And I look down and there's like blood dripping from my hand. And I'm like, well, what happened? And she looks at me and I look like I've been beaten on my finger. And this is sad, but and I'm going to admit something. I love like sparkling water. And I opened a sparkling water and sliced my finger all the way down. It looked like I filleted it with a knife. Crazy stuff. Anyway, that's what's happening. It's a dangerous world I live in. Hey, listen, close this out. We talk about travel. Did you know? And I love to travel and I love this town, but now Richmond, Virginia is one of the top travel places in the United States. I did not know that. I like Richmond, and I'm not throwing shade on Richmond, but I did not realize that it was a top travel destination. What are you doing for uh, Labor Day weekend? Remember to put the comments in there tomorrow. Hey, I've got a special guest. You know, I do a show called Thrive with Jason Webb. Tomorrow, the sun will come out. I had to do it. But tomorrow, Jason's going to hang out with me here a little on the morning break. We're going to talk about Thursday's edition of Thrive. It has just been crazy. I have enjoyed doing this so much. Hey, listen, you can contact me anywhere on social media. You can find me on X. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook. And of course, remember to like, share, and subscribe so that you can get the morning break. This is actually technically the 5th one we've done. How cool is that? I don't know. This is humbling. I want to thank my wife because I have not had so much fun in a long time. And this was all on her. She encouraged me to do this. And I am just so blessed and so excited about where this is going. And man, I love where it's going. You know what? Time goes by way too fast. For most of us, gotta head back to work because today is done for the morning break.